Hi, welcome to the Shelley Studio. Today I am working on my 100-day project and we are on day 73. And this one is, I'm calling it a ranch near Escalante. So it's near Escalante and I put a building in there and some sort of animal. You'll see. It's really hard to draw creatures that small, especially when you're not good at drawing creatures to begin with. But I had this piece of paper. It was actually a picture. I had scraped brown paint over it, and I thought it made a great mountain. So that is why I'm doing this particular location. Gotta get my trees out there in the background. And this is my building. Yeah, it's just a square with a little bit of an angle cut off. But we'll try and make it look like a building. Maybe a little bit. A little bit with the stabilo. I almost stuck my pencil in there. My stabilo pencil is getting pretty short. I need to find my pencil extender holder thingy. I don't know what it's called. I've had it forever. With my colored pencils, I just need to dig it out so I can use it. Make it a little easier to hold on to. So it kind of looks like a building. It's supposed to look like a barn, but we'll go with building. And these, I'm saying they're cows. You don't see me later. I take a little bit of the white Jelly Roll pen to the top of them to give them some highlight so they don't look like just black blobs. Not sure if it helped or not. Just trying to emphasize those mountains. Escalante area has some really cool mountains. Alright, so there is that one. They could be cows, right? Now this next one is day 74, and it's a place called Devil's Slide. And I wanted to use this shade of blue, but it has like black marks on it. So we've just got black streaks running through the sky. Use our imagination. And Devil's Slide is a row of rock or a plate. I don't know geology, I think that's the word, that well, but they're two rocks that are running perpendicular to the horizon. So you'll see it in a minute. So, and it has space in between, so it kind of looks like you could slide down that, but it'd be pretty rough. That's why they call it the Devil's Slide. So I'm putting in my foliage. I'm going to have green on one side and not so much green on the other side of this slide. And a few purple bushes. So this is the piece. It's supposed to look like maybe granite sort of looking. It'll take a little bit of shading to get that to look right, but I like how this one turns out. Like if you've ever seen Devil's Slide, yeah, I think this one worked pretty good. I'm just trying to decide where everything's lining up. The piece pieces that I do that have all the little bushes and bits take a little longer. But they're still not very long. I think I've actually got a whole week on this one video, and I think it's maybe about 25 minutes at the most. So that's kind of supposed to look like a road, and then there's a river, and we're on the other side of that. Sticking some pine trees up there. Obviously you can tell this is a piece of scrap paper. Alright, so here I'm using a China marker because I want like a permanent, I don't want it to wash away when I get it wet. Some permanent black lines around so you can see the division in the two parallel rock formations. And now I'm adding Stabilo because I still want some shading. And I think you see me take out, yeah, the white. Got to give it a little bit of a highlight so it looks more upright and not like this flat object. And those are supposed to be purple bushes. Put a little purple bush on that side. Mess it up a little bit. There we go. Double slide. Day 74. Kind of sticking local because this one is Ogden Canyon. It's just a random picture up Ogden Canyon. Just a really, really simple one, this one. So we've got our mountain and using this watery looking piece of green for the field in the front. This next bit is supposed to be bushes, but it almost looks like more hills when it's done. And I want there to be a path. The picture I had was that they were actually walking through what looked like tall grasses. Not wheat, obviously, but it kind of looked like that. And there was this worn path through it, so that's why I added the path. And I felt like the foreground was a little too much white, so I'm adding a little bit of green. I don't even know what shade of green this is. Kind of looks a little teal. And I smeared off the page. That's why I should always art all the way to the edges so I can mat it. And I cut out this out of some black scrapbook paper. I wanted a big tree, dead tree in the foreground. I really like my tree. What do you think? So that's day 75. This next one is day 76, and this isn't an actual place. I just liked the color of paint that's on this journal page. So I decided, I'm calling it Tropical Sunset because the colors seem really tropical. Here's my water. And then a bit of the same paper I put for the land in the background I'm putting as the foreground. But I end up going over it really dark. I don't think you see me do it, but I do take a Sharpie to it a little bit to make that foreground really dark. I could have stuck a palm tree on there, then you'd believe me that it was a tropical sunset. Except for the black foreground. Beaches are usually light brown. Could be Black Sand Beach in Hawaii. And just a few highlights on the water. Like I said, the foreground gets darker. There it is. Day 76. Another real simple one. This is day 77. I'm calling it Paris. I had a little teeny bit of scrap paper that had an Eiffel Tower and a number 3 on it. Like really small, smaller than an inch. And so I made this whole card to look like it could possibly be Paris. Wow. And stuck this little teeny piece of paper with the Eiffel Tower on there. There we go. And I didn't know how to shade this one, so I just put a few lines at the bottom. It look like the pavement. Boom. That one's done. This next one is day 78, and the place is called Issa? It's ISA. Issa Lake. It's actually the Continental Divide, and it's in Yellowstone National Park. And it's a lake that's full of lily pads. And, yeah. So I thought I would try to represent the lake. And it's like right next to the road. There's a little bit of a turnoff, and then a bridge. And of course, lots of pine trees. So I'm making layers of pine trees. And then this is one of the typical bridges with in Yellowstone they have these huge log railings. So that's what that's supposed to look like. I think this is the longest one of the whole group, maybe. Because it has a bit more detail in it. So right here is where the turnoff is, and there were big boulders or rocks along the edge of that to act as a barrier so nobody fell in the water. So that's what I'm trying to do with these chunks of brown. Trying to make them look like rocks. And make it look like they go away into the distance. Should have started at the back, worked my way forward, but I'm just going to add a tree at the end of this to cover up the edge of that bridge. And now I'm just putting a little glue down and I'm tearing little chunks of the green paper, if I can get it to go up the right way. And they don't look anything like lily pads, but that was the idea. And I got tired of doing it. I didn't want to cover the whole thing, so you get a little representation of some lily padness. Added a few dark ones, because it couldn't be all the same color. And then adding some pen. I was trying to make it look like logs. I didn't do a very good job at getting a straight line. This pen, if you let it dry thoroughly, I think it's fairly permanent. I should test that theory. But I didn't let it dry and got it wet and kind of washed away the poles underneath the bridge. Because I wasn't thinking, I just went whoop right across it. You'll see. Wow. See, there. And I try to blot it and save it, and yeah. I think I draw over a few of them. Maybe. But there it is. It's a lake. I decided to stick with Yellowstone, and this one is trying to be Morning Glory Pool. And if you've ever seen pictures or seen Morning Glory Pool, it's really deep, like a deep turquoise in the center, and it turns orange and then red. The further out you go, the darker red it is. So I really tried to create that. I don't know. You'll have to give me your opinion. This is the last one, by the way, so let me know which one's your favorite. I do like Ogden Canyon because I like that tree. I like the tropical beach. I like Paris too. I have a hard time picking which one I like the most or the least. I don't know. This one's kind of in the least category because it's really bright, and I don't really do real bright, and it wasn't really giving me the pool effect. Though I did try. And then I put a row of trees in the background. There was the trees that are in my actual picture were a lot more dead than alive, but they're kind of sagebrush looking. I think they're actually leaves from some scrapbook paper, but they're trees. They're my trees. So I tried to shade right there in the pool because it goes down really fast. That's how you get that color, the turquoise color, because that's really deep in that area. So that's what I was trying to do with the shading. And actually, I think I shade the background a little bit to try and make it look like it's going back and kind of muck it up a little bit. So I add some more turquoise paint over the top. But yeah, these sit on my desk, so, you know, if I'm not coming up with something for the day, I'll look at those, and I do end up, like, adding things to them later on. So they don't necessarily end up videotaped. Oh, I lost the white lines. I should put the white lines back in. But I hope you liked these videos. If you did, leave me a comment or a thumbs up. Thank you all for watching. Have an awesome day.